Hi y'all, so today we're going to be talking about the SG-ARX Rutherford, a weird hybrid pump-action shotgun explosive grenade launcher that is the directive shotgun available for completing the shotgun directive on NSO. It is weird, it's a lot of fun to use, but it's weird. So, before we talk about anything else, let's just quickly cover how this weapon works, because if you don't play NSO or you don't typically look into directive weapons, this thing is weird. So, when you're hip firing, it's effectively a pump-action shotgun. It's 100 damage across 11 pellets, which means, you will one-shot to the body, assuming all of them land. However, your pellet spread is some of the worst in the game at 4. This is tied with, I think, some of the other second-generation pump-action shotguns, and I believe the auto-shotties as well. The ammunition capacity is terrible at 4 rounds, and it only fires at 75 RPM, which is actually pretty normal among the way pump-actions are, but because this weapon doesn't actually rechamber like the other NSO pump-action shotgun, it feels weird. It's like a semi-auto pump action, if that makes any sense. It's weird. So, while hip-firing, it works like a shotgun, as I just described. When aiming down sights, it's an explosive grenade launcher. So basically, it fires an explosive slug that arcs kind of similarly to the Thumper with less gravity. It's kind of a hard projectile to describe. It's like a Thumper that, has less gravity available to it. It's like a Stomper if you ever use a Stomper. I don't know. You'll see what it's like when I use it. So it basically, from what I've been able to scour and find out, it's a 250 damage slug with a 350 explosive damage. And I believe it's 1 meter of splash range. So it's a 2-shot body, assuming they're not running flak, and I don't think it has to drop off, but it's kind of weird. This very well could be misinformation for all I know. Point is, it should 2-shot to the body within medium close range, but it might be worse past that. So, notably, this thing has really good utility use. Of course, while you're hip firing, it's like a shotgun. Sure, it's one of the worst shotguns in the game in terms of accuracy, and because it's a pump, well, you miss, you die. But it still works. It still works as a shotgun. And when aiming down sights, it's a utility range tool that lets you hit people around corners, and if you figure out how the velocity works, direct hitting people is fairly effective. I mean, the rate of fire is still shit, no matter which way you look at it, but tapping people in the chest twice should kill them most of the time. So it's fun, it's weird, but it's fun. It is worth noting that it's considered a common explosive, which means, rank 1 flak armor blocks this thing really hard, so just be aware of that. So, we're just going to run right into the game with it, as the way things usually do. It's been a while since I've done one of these live reviews, so apologies in advance if anything's a little funky. Quick word on attachments. Run whatever optic you like, it just doesn't matter, and run extended mag. This does not have the smart choke available to it, because it does not aim down sights conventionally like most other shotguns, so it just doesn't have a smart choke. Comfort grip is not bad, but you really want to have as many rounds as you can while you're aiming down sights, and only 4, specifically, with only 4 rounds, you tend to not kill what you're shooting at a whole lot. You may as well just have the extra 2. The laser is useless, dark light is throwing. It works like all other shotguns, what do you expect? So, of course, live gameplay. It is currently 9:47 PM on Connery, and like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these live reviews, so sorry in advance. So this is how it works when you're aiming down sights. It is an explosive slug with funky gravity. Like I said, I would say it's most comparable to the Thumper, but it's not quite Thumper. It has significantly better gravity than the Thumper does, and it works a bit out to farther range. Just be aware of the fact that it does still sink, and it sinks quite heavily. It's a bit of a weird lead that I can't really describe well enough without making a huge edited detailed graph and putting hours and hours into trying to figure out how this thing works, so. And when hip firing, as you just saw, well, it works like a regular pump-action shotgun. It just feels weird because obviously it doesn't pump, so it just feels a little strange to use compared to regular pump actions. Still, you do one-shot targets, but if you miss, you just kind of die. It's a really weird shotgun, and I don't even really want to call it a shotgun because it doesn't play like a conventional shotgun. If you try and use it like a conventional shotgun, you will die. There's no other way to say it. You will just straight up die. And that's supremely unfortunate, but that's just the way the Rutherford works. Now, if you try and use it like a purely grenade launcher tool, it works, but then why aren't you just using the Thumper? But there's a reason. It's a shotgun. Because it's technically considered a shotgun, this means you can run it on, actual classes that are not heavy. Meaning that, if you know what you're doing with a light assault and you are good at positioning, there are some extremely nasty positions you can get into, where you can basically just rain death from above. Like so. Now, would I say it's the best weapon in the game? No. Would I say it's the best shotgun in the game? No. Would I say it's the best grenade launcher in the game? No. But it's fun, and you can use it on light assault. And perhaps the greatest potential that I've seen with this thing, that I have not tried myself, is Shotgun ASP Secondary on your Engineer. Because Engineer can take shotguns in their secondary slot with an ASP perk. While I personally do not have that perk myself, I can imagine this would be an excellent, excellent utility tool to use there. And that's a Morbital. Cool. However, it's still a weird shotgun, you know? You don't always want to be aiming down sights because, well, if you have bad aim, or you're just, you know, you just miss, then it's unfortunate, and you're not going to one-hit. But you can't hit-fire it at very much range either because, well, your pellet spread is, as I've already stated multiple times, among the worst in the entire game. So it's this weird song and dance of hip-firing and aiming down sights in weird situations. Now, I would say the big question, because owing to the fact that it is a directive weapon after all, is it worth unlocking? And there's a lot of really, really different answers to that question. This guy is purely blind. Sometimes people just let you do that. It's funny when it happens, it doesn't happen very often. It's live gameplay. Some things happen. So, I don't really want to go straight to the directive tab. We're just going to talk about it for now as what I think it's worth, because it's actually a very, very complicated answer. This might actually end up being a bit longer than most other reviews, because I think the Rutherford is a very complicated unlock. If you are looking for a shotgun unlock, so maybe something like the Chaos or the Havoc on TR and VS, well, to be honest, it's not a very good shotgun. Honestly, if you're ARXing the shotgun directive because you want another special shotgun with some funny gimmick like Heat, or the automatic Havoc, or hell, the underbarrel shotgun found in the Brawler, no. It's, honestly, it might be the worst shotgun available to NSO as a strict shotgun. The regular SG-100 is so much better, and the Baron is already god tier. There's very little reason to use it as a dedicated shotgun, and if you do so, you're better off just running the HSG if you want to pump. Like, as an actual shotgun, no, it's not worth using. It's not worth unlocking, it's not even worth thinking about. However, if you want a fun, unique utility tool, it is absolutely worth going for. I could very much make an argument for this thing being the first directive weapon worth unlocking in the entire game, if you're inclined to play that way. Because no other weapon in the entire game gives you the experience the Rutherford does. Nothing else in the whole game works like this. To my knowledge, no other weapon has unique fire modes based on whether you're aiming or hip-firing. Now, that could very much be misinformation, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So it's an incredibly unique gameplay experience. However, it's not very effective as a shotgun, it's fun as a grenade launcher, but it's not super effective. I mean, the Thumper is still a bit better for area denial. Really, what makes the Rutherford a lot of fun to use and reasonably strong is the fact that you can put it on light assault. And you can grenade launch in locations that a heavy assault, for example, would never ever be able to get to, without lots of tiers. So, it's complicated. It's very complicated. On the whole, I think it's worth the unlock, if you want a unique gameplay flavor. If you want a strictly good directive weapon that's no nonsense, no, look elsewhere. Just look elsewhere. This is not, per se, a very good directive weapon. I think it's a great utility tool, and I think it's a ton of fun to use, but if you want a pure infantry combo, no. No, you're better off unlocking the Galilei, the Newton, the Feynman, hell, even the Maxwell. It just doesn't have much purpose as a combat weapon. But I will keep reiterating, oh my god, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And really, that's what the Rutherford is. If you want a fun directive unlock that has, like, just very unique gameplay compared to everything else, I think it's absolutely worth your time. If you want a good combat weapon that will not surprise you and will perform like say, a regular shotgun, no, it's not worth your time. Not in the slightest. And the other thing to consider is this directive actually kind of sucks. Because, well, you need to save A7 for the Viscount if you want to complete this while buying a reskinned Baron. So that's just something you need to be aware of if you are intending to go for the Rutherford. The banner itself, by the way, is pretty okay. I don't think it's anything special, but if you like your banners, it's another one to add to the collection at least. So, it's good. It's fun. It's weird. It's really weird. I wouldn't advise it, as I've been saying, if you want a regular weapon as a directive reward, but if you want something unique, totally worth your time. Lots of fun. Really interesting. Really weird. It's in a really, really good state right now. I'm just kind of rambling at the end of the video here. It's in a really good state right now where it doesn't feel broken, but it feels very strong if you know what you're doing with it. And it's kind of weird in that regard, because I don't want them to nerf it. I think nerfing it would probably just make it completely fucking useless. But buffing it would also make it, like, completely game broken. It's in a really, really weird state because there's no other weapon like it. So, you know, if you like your unique gameplay, grind to Rutherford. Thank you all, and I will see you all again another time. Bye.